Okay, guys, welcome back. We should be start looking into the very first questions at the very beginning of this semester for managing the working capital. I have mentioned to you on the plan before the short sessions of the break in the last video. So let's take a look at what is the first real exam questions that we are discussing, looking into how that we estimate the working capital, the cash operating cycle, before we start looking into the rest of the four components, managing inventory, receivable, cash, and finally, the payables. So this is also the time that I would like to share with everyone to get a little bit of the understanding on your computer-based examination. Here we go. I would like you to get yourself familiarized with the computer-based exam resources for this paper. Now, of course, those of you who are already taking your study on the skill levels from LW, which is law, all the way to AA, audit and assurance, you should be quite familiar with how to make use of the computer-based exam resources in the ACCA website. So I don't worry too much for those of you who had the experience. But for those of you who are first taking the ACCA exam, FM happened to be your first paper, let's say, then you probably have to just keep an eye on what I'm going to tell you in a short while. Because this approaches is for you to retrieve the useful resources from the ACCA website for you to get yourself practices, for you to get yourself familiarized with what you expect to see for your real exam under computer-based. As we keep telling computer-based, or what is going to be like and how does it look like over here. First and foremost, if you look at this screen, I'm going into the ACCA website under the subject called Financial Management. I'm sure everyone should know how to reach to this page. Okay, I don't want to spend my time to go for the earlier page, but the landing page is here. And this is something I wanted to draw your attention. If you go under the second half of this page, you will see past exam library. This is where you can find all the past questions on FM. Of course, when I say all, it is not really a complete one, but this is actually some extract of a sample question on section C of the exam paper. The published one set of the sample paper is the sample questions chosen from 2 exam windows. That's why you can see the heading over here. However, when you click into any of this since 2019 onwards, this is how it looks like. It is a PDF files that reflecting the screenshot of how the real computer-based exam is going to look like. So therefore, you can just like scroll up, scroll down as a document because it's already converted into PDF file. I'm telling you, for simplicity, to cut my time short and to enrich the content of all these lessons and the video, I do not wish to use the real computer-based screen to try every single question. I will be very much prefer to use this PDF file to demonstrate how we tackle the computer-based environment. Because as everyone should aware and agree with me, taking on this kind of classes for ACCA under computer-based exam, there are 2 elements of knowledge and skills that you must master. Number 1, it is the hands-on techniques of using your computers, getting used to this kind of computer-based exam. I will spend very little time on this because the moment I have highlighted once for you, the rest of the time is your duty to get yourself familiarized with it. Majority of the time I have spent in this lesson, it's still focusing on the second component that is about technical knowledge on the subject matter, FM. I do not wish everyone to get mixed up and lose the focus. By putting too much of time getting yourself overwhelmed with all these gadgets. We are still learning what is financial management. We're not here to learn copy and paste, cut and paste function. But I cannot skip this totally. So I will spend short time in a short while showing you what to do. Then when we come to the practice question, I'll go back to the PDF file. Keep that in your mind. That is my practice. It doesn't mean, however, I will not use the real CDE screen. I will, but very minimal. And I will highlight these to you now. I will also demonstrate some of this during the revision class later on the next series of the video. Okay, let's come back to here. You saw that all these past questions are already converted into PDF file as I showed you. These obviously do not give you the real hands-on experience how to deal with the real computer-based screen. What you should do, come to here. You can go to the top of this page. There is one item which is a hyperlink. ACCA practice platform. You can click here, no problem. Or else, there's another way to go in. Go back to the earlier slides or the earlier page, FM. We click here to get into past question just now, but it's all in PDF version already. Okay. Apart from the past exam library, the other link, which I think it is very important for you to practice, it's here. Go back to the top. You see the screen over here. Questions practiced. ACCA practice platform. You click in here, it will go to the same page where you click onto the hyperlink that I showed to you on the earlier slide just now. So let's see this. Once you click in there, it will give you to this page. There's nothing much you can see here except there are some video that give you some idea how do you pick up some hands-on habit to get use of this computer-based exam. Please go and click onto every single hyperlink. I say every single hyperlink. Spend your time as early as you can. Watch all the video. Read all the necessary article given by the ACCA expert, giving you all the hands-up and hands-on tips. What are the good habits you should pick it up? But of course, coming to the revision class later on with me, I'll show you my tips. Not now. You want to know some tips? Go and watch all these videos. You must do this. This is your job. I have done all this already. I know what is there. Now your turn. Okay, so click every single hyperlink on this page. Go and read everything. I say everything. Don't even miss once. And do it as early as you can. Next, I would like you to just click into here. Log in to practice platform. I'm sure most of you who are listening should already know how to get in here. But those of you who are first time, you will enter into here. You should have your My ACCA login code already. You must come into here using your own My ACCA login detail. I have mine. Okay, that's mine. Don't copy mine. Anyway, you will never know what is my passwords. Use yours. Okay, use yours. Once you enter, you will come to this page. Look at the right-hand side catalog. Pick the subject you're taking, FM, click. You will see it will break it down to these two. Click onto official resources. Then you will see past exam and specimen. Go and click on this. You will see there are 3 set of past questions here. They are in the real CPE mode. You go into the specimen, there is 1 more. So in other words, all of you, you have 4 set of the real exam question in this form, but not every sitting. Okay, if you take a look at the past paper, the past exam library, you have every sitting in full. Here, not every sitting yet. Wait. In the near future, ACCA will publish more here. Okay. At the meantime, however, you have 4 already. To me, you must try this 4 using the real platform. So let me just show you some sample. In fact, this question is from September, December 2020, but it's only on section C, like this one, like the one that you see here. Okay. So this is a screenshot, obviously. When you go into here, you click. It will come to the left-hand side. Go to the left-hand side, scroll down. you will see it will assign to your portal already, and it go like this, FM, past exam. You can see all the sitting number here, okay? The first two set of practice tests are actually some of the sample passes questions in the past. I show it to you. You must click assign. I click assign already, that's why you see unassigned, okay? You click assign, it will appear on the bottom left. You see this sitting or not? These two tests are actually from two of the previous sitting of the exam paper. Good for you. You know why? I show this to you. You see the sample of December and September 2020? Click in there. This is the one, yeah? I already started. That's why it says resume. If you haven't started, you click, it will start. It will show you from the first page. I'm sure everyone should know you have to scroll everything down, left and right, in order for you to click next, yeah? You should know that. So if I go back all the way to the front, it will start with all this kind of general information, which I have done it. So I assume everyone will start looking at the first page of the question. In the September-December 2020, the questions that published here is a scenario-based questions, which is a section C. Of course, in this screen, you don't see what is section C, but you can go to the navigator at the bottom right. They only say questions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They don't even say section C, because this is not the full set of the passes paper. I will show you what is that passes paper full set looks like in a short while. But this is the first case study. But again, you don't see the questions number at all. This is the real screen. On the left, story. On the right, your requirement, your answer sheet in the workspace, where if the calculation is asked in the requirement, they give you Excel. If the theory is asked, they give you words. So that means it is impossible for this exam paper that one requirement will ask you for two tasks. One calculate, one theory. Impossible. One task only can either be writing or calculation, because they only give you one worksheet. They will separate out. If they want to ask you both, it will separate into A and B and C. Remember this. Understand what I'm saying? So this is the real screen. Comparing to the PDF screen just now that you saw, this is how it looks like. You see, skip all the earlier page, introduction section. You look at the real question screen, scenario 1. This screen appear on the left, and the screen on the right appear on the next printout. Do you see? It just appear on the snapshot or the screenshot in the PDF file. But the sample paper in the CBE form from September, December 2020 is incomplete. This is only section C. You want to see the complete one? Okay, you go to back page. Go at the bottom left. If you already assign the questions to yourself, you see this. If you don't see this, go back to the right hand side, click assign, it will appear here. Okay, you see the second set of the questions that is called practice test 2, which is actually from 2016, December sitting. Okay, practice test 2, resume, take a look. So this is the first page as usual. So I just quickly glance through this with you guys. Next, do you see now? This is the Reddit question. What questions is that? MCQ. This is MCQ. So if you want to know what are the questions that you found in this set of the practice, you go to Navigator. Do you see it now? Section A. All the questions in Section A, MCQ, are here. Section B are here. And then we have Section C over here. Guys, this is the real outlook of your screens in your upcoming exam. So the test 2 is a full set of sample exam paper from one of the past exam before. You must try this. Of course, in the revision class, we will try some of it, especially the MCQ. I told you already in the first lesson, we only focus on section C for time being. Understand? The other thing I also want to highlight to you when you are playing around this computer-based screen is to make sure, get yourself familiar with all the symbol, all the tools on the top left, top right, bottom left. I don't want to talk too much about that. Go and play around yourself, but I just want to give it a highlight. My suggestions for you, don't get overly excited with all these tools. Doesn't mean that every tool that's given to you, you must use. Just take my words. The tools on the top left, me, at most, I will use highlight. If you want to highlight something, which I don't need, I don't know about you. If you need it, just use the highlight. The rest, don't use, especially calculator. Don't use this calculator. Please bring your own scientific calculator. Definitely not phone, not phone. Phone cannot use. You must use a scientific calculator. Bring it to the exam hall, okay? If you need that. Otherwise, use the Excel. Use the Excel that is given in section C. But if the MCQ in section A and B need calculation, there's no Excel, right? There's no Excel. Do not use this. This will slow you down. Use your scientific calculator for calculations question in MCQ under section A and B. For the questions in section C that involve calculation, don't use a calculator. Use Excel. Go back, practice, practice, and practice. You will know what I meant. On the bottom left, that is something that you should read before we start practicing more and more questions. Okay, you see there are three folder over here. There are 5 pages. Please read these. You don't need to read these on the exam day. Read these day in, day out until you're so familiar with it. You don't want to miss any single kinds of guideline over here. Remember on that. Okay. So read this formula sheet. I need you to get yourself familiarized with what is in the formula sheet. So this formula sheet is the same as every sitting itself, but I must let you know the formula sheet that you saw in the CBE screen for September, December 2020, wrong formula sheet is attached. Okay, wrong formula sheet. They attach the formula sheet from PM, not FM. So just take note. But for this set of the passes question, the formula sheet attached is correct one. And this formula sheet is the correct one for your coming exam. So please use this formula sheet. And by the end of the session, you're going to learn all this formula sheet together with the last form of the document. Coming to the third folder, you can find that have some of the guides that every student should be aware. Do not spend time during the exam to read too late. Read it now, okay? You can click into each and every one of it over here to take a look. So I suppose you should know how to explore the 3 of these sections over here. If you click into this, this is also hyperlinked. It will just lead you to the page number accordingly, but there's not too many after all. You can always go back there. What I will highlight to you, it's especially if you take a look at the title for the third sections, that is something about the formula function. I know a lot of us is getting very excited when you see formula functions because we thought it is a lot of shortcuts given here. I just want to remind you, a lot of this formula function in the Excel spreadsheet, you don't need to use it in FM level. Okay, this includes all the function for AFM as well. So you're going to take a look at all these functions very carefully, which one that you will use it, which one you find useful, you learn it. My personal experience and my guideline for you in the lesson is I'm not going to use all of it. In fact, the one I will use is very minimal. I will still prefer to use a more easier one, even though it's a little bit more tedious. As long as you can be very familiar with the longer way, it is still the same. I'm telling you this so that I do not want to get overly whelmed by memorizing all this formula function. If you are keen to do this, go ahead. I will leave it to you as a free hand to decide which approach you want to use. Okay, but I'm telling you already, my approach is that I do not overly rely on this. Certain calculation, I will still use a very basic Excel function will do, plus, minus, multiply, divide. I don't need this kind of the special function key. In particular, some of us will get very, very excited when you see this kind of things like square root, power sign. Yeah, you can use it, but I don't need that honestly. I will show it to you as we go along the journey. You don't need to use log, yeah, NPV, you get very excited. I don't use this, but in the revision class, I will show you how to use. Okay, the choice is yours. In the normal lesson, I don't go into here because I always believe this. If you use and overly rely on this formula, unless you know the story behind the calculation, otherwise at the end, when you graduate, one day your boss asks you, show me the logic behind, you will look at your boss and don't know what to talk. You cannot tell your boss, I don't know, because the formula is already there. Come on, that is very, very like disgrace to you, right? So I don't want you to take too much of the shortcut until you are really familiar with all the basic fundamental. So the shortcut, I leave it to you. I will go back to my way that allow you to understand the basic fundamentals behind. Shortcut, as I say, your job. Okay, so that is some things that you have to go and take a look at it on yourself. Spend some time on that. All right, so highlight, you have to use it. Formula sheet, you have to read it. The rest of it, you can go and just play around on your own. So that is how they go. The first questions I will be going through with you, unfortunately, it's not here. The list of the practice questions on this exam paper that I would like to discuss with you is not here. So there's no way for me to go into here already because the questions is not from the December 2020. No. So I'm going to close this. I'm going to close this one here. I don't use this. Okay. The one I will be discussing with you, it's the questions from March/July 2020. That is one and the very first questions I will discuss with you in PDF file. You have seen the real CBE screen already. So if I were to try the questions from now until the end of the session, I will display my screen almost the same like what you saw in the CBE condition. Okay, I will turn on my questions paper and displays on the left, and then I will show the answer sheet on the right. It all depends. What is the requirement? Remember, you saw it on the real screen just now. If the requirement is a calculation, you will have an Excel. If the requirement is theory, it will be a Word. So I will do the same thing. I just want to mimic as much as I can, as close as possible to the real CBE screen. So this is like, you show the screen on the left, your answer is on the right, obviously. So if you take a look at the March, July, or March, June, whichever you call, you see that? The heading and the title, not the same. Well, whatever you call this as. And you will say, Mr. Shan, why like that? Is it a mistake? No, it's not a mistake. Just for your information. Last year, certain country, the exam in June took place in June. Certain country, however, took place in July. Then you will say, the student who took in July will be benefiting because they can call the students who took the exam last month. I'm sorry, the ACCA are not stupid, yeah? All these questions are different. Oh, what do you mean by that? That means whatever you see here is only 2 out of many versions of questions that came out in June sitting or March sitting. Don't think that these 2 are the only 2 questions that came out here. These are 2 out of many. How about the rest? Honestly, I don't know what came out. You also don't know. Even you read examiner report, also no use because examiner report only talk about this. Examiner report didn't tell you the rest. So I hope you know how to play this game. Moving forward, don't ask me for tips. No tips. You're going to learn everything. Particularly, you want to know the tips. The tips is found in the syllabus guide, which I show you on the first video. In the front page of my course note, I give you a table. I show you which syllabus section will be tested in section A, B, and C. That is tips. Nothing else. Okay? Great. That will be the question that we will be discussing on March and June. There are 2 questions because this is in section C. So there are 2 questions. So which one are we dealing with? We're dealing with the first scenario for your information. So again, there's no numbering. You have to get use of the new formatting. I have to get used. You have to get used as well. Okay. I'm going for the first questions. Reason being, if you look at the requirement, this is how the requirement in part A looks like. Asking you for this. I don't want to read in detail. We'll come to this in a short while. But you see this word working capital. You know this is what we're talking about already. and then you see the same questions is repeating again because that also relate to another section of the requirement. Okay, what did I ask for? Now, just a quick one. You see the word investment policy for working capital, funding policy for working capital. This is exactly what we just discussed. If you haven't heard from me, you will get stung here. But if you heard from me, come on, that is kacang putih for the 10 marks. And I told you on the first lesson already, the mark split between calculation and theory is half-half. You see that? 20 marks, 10 marks is on the theory because everything is discussed. You see the worksheet or not? Words file. You see the earlier requirement? Excel. Because all these are calculation for another 10 marks. I hope in the last couple of minutes, I gave you a clear message and guide what you have to do at yourself to prepare yourself and get yourself familiar with the CBE and how do we want to use this kind of screenshot for practicing the passes paper. Anyway, to get yourself ready for the first part of the requirement, that is Excel, I will suggest you to create an Excel file under these lessons for FM with me. Create this title, file name, practice question, and then underneath you have different folders to add on. I'll suggest you name this folder, rename this folder as March/June, or no slash, okay, 20 scenario 1. Okay, each and every questions that we try subsequently on different topic, I will keep adding here. So at the end, there's only one Excel file. Same on your side as well. Okay, once you have created this Excel file, you should also do the same to create a words file. Only one word file, but it will be easier because every time we try a questions, we just got to type the question's name on it like this. Okay, word file. March, June 20, scenario 1. Then whatever I want to discuss and the answer with you, I will just type in here. So on my exercises, I will have 2 files. I hope you also open up these 2 files on your end. Understand? So are we ready now to go? I'll get ready and stand by this spreadsheet over here. So each and every lesson, it will go like this. Do you see the 2 sides now? This screen is almost the same like the real CBE screen. That is what I want. At the same time, I also want to remind you when we go into the spreadsheet or Excel, you know the original Excel have many functions, right? But the one in your computer screen on the left hand side, this Excel is a simplified Excel. There are functions that we can use here on the original Excel, but you cannot use here. So therefore, I know what are the functions that you can use here. Therefore, when I try to use this, I only use the function that you can use it in exam. I don't touch on those functions that you couldn't use here, so that we can mimic almost the same like what you can do in exam, what we're doing in the practices. I hope all these couple of briefing for you give you a clear picture. Moving forward, not only this question, whenever we try a past year's question or exercise, we will do the same kind of practices to groom your habit. Okay, the rest of the point, I want to focus back to core knowledge. All the massaging skills, all the gadgets on using all the spreadsheet, I have talked enough. The rest is for you to try out and play around. What I want to highlight is to focus on the core knowledge itself. So what should you do? Very simple. First thing first, read the requirement before you read the story. Remember, first thing first, read the requirement, then only read the story. Okay, that is what you should do. And not only that, that will be good enough. If you read the requirement, try to do this. This is what I would suggest you to do. In the real exam, you do like this, okay? When you answer your questions here, try to copy this. You know how to copy it, Control C, Control V. You will do the same here. Trust me, there is always a reason of every move, every step I show to you. Copy this requirement down here. Don't leave it. Mr. Chan, I thought we can just write A1, A2. Yes, you can. But trust me, there is a purpose why I asked you to copy. You understand? Let's see if we can highlight. Obviously, we can't. Unless I were just to enlarge it, also can't. Never mind. But I'm telling you, in your real exam, you can go to the top and you can highlight, drag, Control C. Come down here, Control V. You can, okay? But here we can't. So what I would do, instead of copy and paste, I just give you a quick idea what we're doing here. When you come to this spreadsheet on the right hand side, okay? Basic rule, try to use the space within this screen. I know that you can go all the way. You see this address or not? You can go all the way, very, very far. But try not to. I don't want to tell you too much of reasoning. Just trust me. Use whatever space you have. Maximum, just one column. Don't go too far. Okay? Try to train yourself. Make sure your calculation is able to cope within this space. More than enough. Don't go very far. You can go down, no problem. But you don't have to go very down because FM, not so difficult. Okay? You don't need very, very long. If you want to go down, can. You want to scroll down, can. But try not to scroll to the right too much. You only want to manage one dimension, that is vertical dimension. You don't want to focus on the horizontal dimension. Trust me. Understand? So at least what I can do here is A1. What did they ask me to do? Prepare a forecast statement of financial position. At least I know I have to tell the marker, okay, this is what I need to show. Let's call this as FP. So that is my heading over here. Of course, I will have the second task over there. Calculate the effect. So I don't have to write the word calculate, but it's the word effect. Effect of something. Of what? The proposed expansion. Meaning, how does this affect the following? So what you have to focus is the word on. The on is very important. You want to show the marker, how can this item 1 affect item 2? It is the item 2 you must show your answer. So on what? They say very clearly, on working capital ratios. Common sense, ratios more than 1. What is that? I don't know. Let's wait and see, because they say already listed by the finance director. So effect of the proposed expansion on these ratios. You see that? If I were to type, I don't have to copy everything. I have to go smart. I only take out the task I have to respond. How to know the task? Follow the verb. These are called the verb. The words after the verb is your answer. That is the one you need. Understand? You know what the questions want already? Same thing. Go and take a look at what is the requirement on part B. This is only about discussion, but there's no need for you to turn on to the words file on the next one and start typing. No need. But at least you know what they are asking for. Next, go back to the story and start picking the clue from the story. Organize the pictures in your mind. Then you will start answering your questions. Okay? I will expect you to spend some time to read through this on your own before I start telling you the important fact from this picture. You need to spend some time to read through this. If you ask me, how much time do you spend? I give you the clue. Okay? I don't want to tell you too much of time management now, but trust me, this is the time that you should spend and train up on your reading. A paragraph like this, that is about 5 lines, is a standard length of a paragraph. Of course, here it's only 4, I know, but standard is about 5. You should not take more than 2 minutes to read and digest a paragraph of 5 lines. This is 4 lines. This means that you should spend less than 2 minutes to finish this. Spend about a minute, I would say, for this kind of table that is so simple. So about 3 minutes gone, right? And then here you just use 5 lines for instance, okay? This is 5 lines. There's about 2 minutes or less than 2 minutes. That's about another 2 minutes. So altogether, I don't think this will take you about 6 minutes. Within 6 minutes, you should read everything already. Plus 3 minutes, you should take about 9 minutes to read everything. How much time do you have for this whole question? 20 marks? Multiply 1.8 minutes. But to me, don't use 1.8, use 1.5 to count. 1.5 times 20 minutes or 20 marks, you have what? Half an hour. You have 30 minutes to go. You spend about 1/3 of the time on reading. You have about 2/3 of the time to figure out your answer. So 1.5 minutes for 1 mark, for 20 marks, half an hour. Spend 1/3 of the time, read the story, digest everything, 2/3 of the time, answer the questions. That is your time management. Go back, try to read before I start telling you how do I approach these questions over here. Okay?